Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to one and all. Today we are back to the lectures after a long time, but we have gone through a very good period through your first unit test and your first term exam. Now I'd like to finish off last two chapters of your geography syllabus, the social science 2 syllabus. Chapter 8, economy and occupation. Economy means business, trade, commerce, anything with commercial transaction where hard cash is used, or you use, according to technology today, we use everything through the e-media or e-technology, where all various forms of scanners are used for all sorts of monetary transactions in that way. The second part is the occupation. Occupation means the different types of jobs available in each country. So it is in that way that the job profile is very important for a person and the family backing up, or the livelihood or the lively income for a particular family. GDP is taken on a gross domestic product, which is done at a nation-wise, at the national level, whereas the per capita income is the income taken by one individual according to his own salary or his own income in that particular way. GDP moves with the whole population, whole nation, whereas per capita income is calculated on individual income basis, which is doing everything for itself and for the family. The special working class people is from the age group of 18 right up to 57, 58 and 60 in India. They are independent people, but the people who are dependent on these people is from the age of 0 to 15, and 60 plus people are dependent on the working class people. Therefore, the economy taken into working is done by what that particular person or the family does in proper working. So let's start off with the chapter where different types of transaction, different types of commercial working, different types of economy, trade, business, and most important, where cash transaction is taking place. There's given you, try this, there's a table given out there where it has to be denoted or recognized. Brazil answer is given for that particular country, and the sectors are given to you: banking, railway, airways, electricity production, iron and steel industry, health, education and telecommunication. What is in Brazil is given to you, and the answers for India is to be done by you, and I shall be giving you the answers now itself. If you have your pen and a textbook, open to page number 52 of your chapter 8, Social Science 2, Economy and Occupation. In Brazil has banking as a private and public sector. Same way in India also private banks and public banks are there. So you can write out there PP for private and public. Second way, it is railway. Railway is in the hands of the public sector, that means the government sector. That is why you write just one single P, which is understood as the public sector, or you can call it as the government sector or the government undertaking. Third one is Airways. Airways is both private and public, that means the government is taking care of airways and the private sector is doing the needful in the same manner. Next is the iron and steel industry, where it is largely done on a public sector basis or the government sector taking place in it. In India itself, then you have health in Brazil with both private and public sector. India also has private and public sector health working, because there are many hospitals in the village area also, many hospitals on the outskirts of the city region and in the city region itself. Finally, you come into education. Education obviously you have at every level, the primary sector level, the village level, the hamlet level. You move into a town region, then you move into a city region, or you come into a metropolitan city like your Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata and Chennai. They all are well developed or well urbanized region of India, where you have ample amount of education, and most important you have communication, telecommunication. Both in India have been taken care by private sector along with the public or the government undertakings. Any questions, any queries, any doubts, you're most welcome to ask me as and when you require. Plus remember, you give your complete detail and write the complete question. That's very important. Secondly, if you look at the table where they classify the following activities in by ticking in the respective columns. There are various activities given out there, and it has to be understood into your primary sector, secondary sector and the tertiary sector. Primary sector is where all the form of agriculture working is done. Your mining farm is there, beehive is there. You have your beekeeping, coir and rope making, extracting of iron ore and rice production. All the work of agriculture is taken into your primary sector. Then you have your secondary sector where you make jaggery or sugar production. Then you have making of blades, that is obviously industrialization, that is your secondary sector. And then you have automobile production. You can have the complete vehicle ready out there or its spare parts in working. So you have three things in the secondary sector. You have the jaggery making, you have blade production of the plow. Plow is an instrument or a device for digging the ground for agriculture, used in cultivation. And apart from that, you move into your tertiary sector. Tertiary sector is also known as your service sector. Service sector where people go in for jobs. So all odd and even jobs are available in all the public sector as well as the private sector. Television broadcasting is your tertiary sector. Constructions of various forms of buildings, bridges, flyovers, roads, so on and so forth. Then you have teaching. The profession that I am at present doing is a teaching profession. So that is also taken into your tertiary or your service sector. Driving buses of private sector or the government sector is taken into your tertiary sector. Second is whenever a person moves about from one place to another, the most important thing is your accommodation. And accommodation has to be done through boarding and lodging. Therefore, that is also taken into consideration in your tertiary sector. Now we move on to the GDP part, which I have already told you earlier in the start of the chapter. India and Brazil, if you look at the figure 8.2, then it is very simply understood. It is given to you the contribution of sector in the GDP according to 2016. Brazil has a primary GDP as 5.5, India primary GDP is 17, whereas Brazil has the contribution of its tertiary sector at a very large scale of 67% and India at only 57%. Then you have your secondary sector of Brazil with 27.5% and India with 26%. Then the percentage population engaged in the various sectors of doing different types of odd and even work or job or as paid salary or contract basis or bonded labor also. So the primary sector, secondary sector have been given proper shades. Primary sector in your figure 8.2, the second figure below one shows you 10%. Secondary sector in Brazil shows you 19% and the tertiary sector shows you 71%. Whereas in India is totally vice versa. It's okay, no problem. But it is totally opposite to Brazil, because the population of Brazil is only 19 crores, whereas India is running 135 crores plus. And in that way, India is more than 10 times the population of Brazil. Therefore, India is yet dependent on the agricultural sector, whereas Brazil is moving ahead with the tertiary sector. And they have well-fledged working in the GDP in that sense. National income of Brazil is much, if you look at the table given on page number 53, right side table, it is based on US dollar basis. The table is giving you India, Brazil, India and US, 1960, 1980, and 2000, 2016. There's a vast difference between all the three countries. If you look at India in 1960, it was just $90 per capita income of one individual annually per annum. But in Brazil, it was 240, and on a large scale basis, we look at America, USA, it is 3,250. Now at current, according to 2016 calculation of the national per capita income of an individual, for India, it has gone up to 1,680. Brazil is almost 5 times more than India, that is 8,840. And if you calculate according to your US dollar basis, it is at least 50 times more in that way. So it is very important that India must improve itself through industrialization and your tertiary sector. Now if you look at United States, it is known, it has taken into consideration that United States is a developed country. Apart from that, it is a well-educated country, and most important, this country, pause karo. Most important is America has got a brand by itself. It is a brand ambassador in its way. The country has the strength of many patents, modern technology, mechanical strength. This country is far ahead of Brazil and India in terms of national per capita income. Patents means it has the authority, it has the registration, it has the power to give registration at the world level. That means the trademark for any particular type of working. We shall study that probably at the end of the same chapter, where patent marks or logos or mascots are given in that way, in such a manner to get it done. India and Brazil are yet developing countries, where India has a very low per capita income compared to the American countries. Now, if you look at the next page, 54, we shall move off with Brazilian country doing different types of working. According to geographical explanation, if you look at the map, figure 8.3, page number 54, you can see all the different types of agriculture working: coffee, rice, corn, sugarcane, cocoa, that is cacao, according to the Brazilian language, where the Portugal language is used out there. Portugal is a language in the Brazilian country. In that way, rubber, banana, orange, soya bean. Then we move on to mining, where ample amount of mineral ores are found. Manganese, bauxite, iron ore, coal are all found in Brazil, where you can see ample amount of, if you look at the sign and symbols of it, you can see the ample amount of regions where you find different types of agriculture work being done all over the part of Brazil, and mining is more or less done in the Amazon River Basin region and on the Brazilian Shield region also. Then you have animal husbandry. That means all the different types of cattle being taken into care, livestock taken into care, and in that way people domesticate animals for cash working also, commercialize in that particular way. Then you have fishery. If you look at the fishery part of it, you can see the Majaro Island area where the North Atlantic Ocean is there. They're showing you 3 whales out there, or fishes out there, showing that case in that way. And in that way again, if you move to the south of Atlantic Ocean, you again have ample amount of fishery in the escarpment region also. They are all available on the continental shelf of the Brazilian country. Then you move down again, you have the red color arrow showing you warm ocean currents and a blue color arrow showing you cold ocean currents. And there is ample amount of fishing done at that particular confluence where both the ocean currents meet each other. Because of the warmth of the water, the cold ocean current and warm ocean current, there is good amount of working in that way. So therefore, that was the complete explanation regarding your different types of agriculture in Brazil, different types of mining done in Brazil, and different types of fishery, animal husbandry done in Brazil. Then you have, what is the currency of Brazil by itself? Brazil, like in India, we call it as rupee, and the symbol of rupee is R. But here in Brazil, the symbol of Brazilian currency is capital R with the dollar sign also, both together, and it is known as Brazilian real. The currency name is Brazilian real. You have everything available on page number 55. Now there are 4 figures on page number 55 which show the different types of cultivation done in India and Brazil. If you look at the first figure, that type of cultivation is found in the country of Brazil. The second one is tea plantation, which is done on a large scale basis in the state of Assam and done on a large scale. Again, the third figure is showing you slash and burn type of agriculture which is found in Brazil, which is known as roca farming, R-O-C-A, roca type of farming. Finally, you move down again, you have rice plantation, or you can call it as paddy cultivation, being done on a large scale basis, and that is found in India only. Brazil has a good coastline of 7,400 kilometers, all where Brazil has good Atlantic Ocean, but most of the fishery or fishing is done in the inland water fishing. But most of the marine water fishing is done obviously in the Atlantic Ocean, north and south. So that was Brazilian part of explanation of your agriculture and geographical part of it. Any doubts, any queries, any questions, you're most welcome to ask me. As and when you require, I am available on WhatsApp 365 days a year, 24/7 round the clock. Thank you. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.